por fin, we seize the time, free at last. Learn to love, live to fight, not just for me, but for others. Teach the new blood and live for freedom. I survived the COINTELPRO assassinations, AIDS epidemic, crack era fractured the nation. The interpretation of American democracy is best exemplified in its foreign policy dichotomy. I live a double life of political philosophy, but revolution follows me to struggle for equality against the morally bankrupt, claiming to be born again. It's a civil war again, like MS-13's origin. Ban ethnic studies claiming our culture will swallow them, but you can't conquer people and build a country on top of them, and then feel offended that they breathe the same oxygen. Your family values lack the wisdom of Solomon, but Operation Condor and Operation Bootstrap are poli-sci.
Shalom, Yisrael. I'm going to start off by giving Kol Halo Yahweh B'Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai. It's all honor, all praise, and all glory to the Most High God Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I'm here assisted today by brother. Introduce yourself.
Brother Elias, man. Banlo Sakari, man. We had to edify the lost sheep of the house of Israel, man.
Khan, it's a powerful Levite out of Boston. So he's gonna help me out with the Gentile course. I know the last video had the terms and the context, and it's kind of like give you a little preconceived notion on what a Gentile actually is, or what a Gentile can be, right? Because it could be multiple things. It's a very vague and broad statement. It's not definitive, right? You're gonna share your screen, you said?
Come
on. So I don't know if I said it in the last video, but the English word for Gentile comes from the Latin word gentiles, right? So that's the etymology of it, right? That's where it originated from. And another misunderstanding about the word Gentile is actually that, because a lot of Israelites will say that the Gentiles were Northern Kingdom Israelites. A lot were, some were. I can't really tell you the number, but it wasn't only. It was Southern Kingdom as well, because we had a Southern Kingdom that were claiming to be Greeks, claiming to be Romans, Ethiopians, different, following after different customs. Some of them by force, some of them willingly did it. Some of them just, we have the example of Egypt. As soon as we got out of Egypt, first thing that we did was want to go back. So it's not only the Northern Kingdom, it's the Southern Kingdom as well. Another thing before we get started is the term Jew is primarily used for the tribe of Judah, primarily. Sometimes it's used for the Southern Kingdom and sometimes for Israel as a whole, right? So you got to keep that in mind as well when kind of breaking down and delving into the topic of Gentiles, who the Gentiles are for, who the proselytes were. So these are all different. They're just terms. They're just words.
It's a very broad term. That's it, man.
Yeah, exactly. So do me a favor, bro. Grab me John. Were you saying something?
No, I was just saying what you said. That was just a very, very broad term.
Grab John 1:19, Bible Kasha.
Come.
So I'm gonna show you like a.
My internet is slow, man.
Say it again. I mean, I could put the screen up if you need it.
This is the book of John, chapter 1. And this, what you said?
No, I was saying I could put up the screen if you needed me to, but it seems that you got it. So move forward.
This is the book of John, chapter 1, verse 19. And this is the record of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who art thou?"
So this is all obviously talking about the specific tribe of Judah. You see how there's a separation. So when you look at certain verses, you got to look not. Of course, you have to see how the words being used, where it's placed, but there's also look around it, the verse before it, the verse after it, right? Like when is it being used? How is it being used? You could even go as far as to say who's saying it, right? Like if you have an Israelite saying brother, I'm pretty sure the brother he's talking about is an Israelite, right? 99% of the time, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'll say 100% of the time, because we're a hyper nationalist.
Man.
Israelites are hyper nationalists, so just you got to see who's speaking it and how they're speaking. So
Let's look
decent
up
amount. Say,
hyper national.
say it again.
I said
Okay,
let's look up what a hyper nationalist is.
bring that up.
Can you hear me?
Come on, yeah, bring it up.
Come on. Salakia, man. So, right, the definition for hyper nationalist is
You got to put your screen back up, bro. You took it down.
come on, this is gonna pop up. You can see?
Come
Come on. Hyper nationalist is uh what is the meaning of hyper nationalism? Extreme nationalism, the belief in the superiority of one's nation and of the paramount importance of advancing.
right. So we can do a whole class. You leave your screen up, bro, because we're gonna be going through different verses and stuff.
Come on.
Baba Kasha. Um, so hyper. We can do a whole class, and we might as well do a whole class later on hyper nationalism. But just for now, take my word for it. Israelites, Israel, Jews were hyper nationalists, are hyper nationalists. So it's just the superiority. You know, the Most High chose a specific people, and He doesn't want you to be like anybody else. So,
Come
but so just with keeping that in mind, when you hear an Israelite say brother, it's gonna be talking about his people or her people. So Gentiles. All right. Yes. You know what? What you know what the Greek word for nation is? I mean for Gentile is
like ethnos.
ethnos. You want to bring that up,
Come
right? So the majority of the time when you see the word Gentile in the scriptures, it's gonna go back to this word. It's Strong's G1484.
G1484. Ethnos. Right, let's get the pronunciation.
Strong's G 1484. Ethnos. Ethnos.
Yeah, you gotta understand. It ain't right if Caucasians ain't saying it. That's the only way you know it's correct.
Come. That's how Jake be rocking, man. Right? Ethnos, the Strong's definition, right? A tribe, especially a foreign, non-Jewish, one usually by implication pagan, Gentile, heathen nation people. Right? And in the biblical usage, a multitude, whether of men or beasts, associated or living together, a company, troop, swarms, a multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus, the human family, tribe, nation, people group in the Old Testament, foreign nations not worshiping the true gods, pagans and Gentiles. Paul uses the term for Gentile Christians.
Exactly. Now, can you scroll down to the definitions a little bit? Go back up to the definitions.
Right here, right
So you
here.
see it say, so it's called a race, a tribe. Now, when you look at specific, when it says specifically a foreign, non-Jewish, that's inserted there by the person who's Strong's, the person that made the
Right.
lexicon, his own lexicon. That's what he believes. But he also understands that it's a race or a tribe primarily, and then the specific gets put afterwards because that's his modern Christian belief, right?
Um,
But to,
his understanding of the word.
exactly. Go to Luke 7:5, because this is gonna be in
This
this
is the book
verse.
of Luke.
In this verse, it's gonna be talking. It's gonna be using the ethnos there, but it's not gonna be saying Gentiles. It's gonna be saying something else. Go ahead.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 7, verse 5. For he loveth our nation, and he hath built us a synagogue.
Right. That's showing you two things: hypernationalism, right? Him choosing a specific people,
Right.
and that word nation is the word ethnos before it, right? So you can't harp on a word to just mean one specific thing all the time,
Come.
right? Because even when they translated it, they had one word and they gave it two different translations, two different words, in two different spots. You know, sometimes it's nation, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's gentle, sometimes it's whatever. Go over to go to John 7:35.
This is the book of John, chapter 7, verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he shall go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles?
So contextually, without all the strongs of it, they it's it's talking about a specific Gentile. So it gives you two different ones, isn't it? Is he gonna go among the Gentiles? No, so like, it's gonna be to teach the Gentiles. Is he gonna go among the Gentiles to teach the Gentiles? But what leads you in, what leads you into a specific direction to figure out what the word is talking about is dispersed. Remember what I said before, if you just harp on that one word, you're gonna get lost. You're gonna be very close, not close minded, but you're gonna have a very big misunderstanding on the scriptures. So in that context, it's talking about the dispersed among the Gentiles, among the nations, the swarm of people, the multitude. Bring out that definition, Baba Kasha.
Um,
Dispersed.
dispersed Gentiles,
Yeah,
dispersed.
dispersed.
This is G 1290. Dispersed.
You
Jesus,
said
the app is
1290, right?
slow, man. Yeah, G 1290, right? Diaspora, right? We're gonna let Esau say it.
Strong's G1290. Diaspora. Diaspora.
Right. Scattering, dispersion of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations of the Christians scattered abroad among the Gentiles. You know what's crazy? With the other
What's up?
Christians, it's showing that only true Christians could be Israelites. They're just opposing Gentiles from Christians. So it's showing that the only true Christians could be Israelites, right?
It's
Dispersion,
true.
specifically, concretely, the converted Israelite residents in Gentile countries, which are scattered abroad.
So Strong's understood that the dispersed, the word for dispersed, was talking about Israelites. That's a given. So if they're meant to go talk to the dispersed among the Gentiles to teach the Gentiles, that second Gentile in the verse is obviously talking about the dispersed. Because they wouldn't be teaching the Gentile in the middle, the nations, right? Because the Gentile that's in the middle of that verse is just means nation, like all people. And then, but the dispersed is tethered to that second Gentile because that's who they're teaching. So it's Israelites, even according to Strong's. I sent you the etymology online for the word dispersed. It's in the chat. You want to open that up, Babusha?
Right. In reference to the dispersion of the Jews from Greek diaspora, dispersion from diasporan to scatter about disperse, from dia about across Sperian to scatter, see sparse. The Greek word was used in the Septuagint in Deuteronomy 28:25. A Hebrew word for is galuth, exile. The earlier word for it in English was Latinate dispersion.
So
So
even
all this
even at
goes
his
back to
base,
Hebraic ties, man.
Salaki, give me can you hear me, or is there like a lag in between?
It's like a lag in between.
There's a lag in between. Um, so yeah, so I'm gonna pause this real quick. Yeah, Salaki about that. We're having technical difficulties, but even in the based form, like the most primitive form of the word, because etymology is the study of the origins of the words. It's talking about Israelites. That word was made to to describe Israelites, right? So then from there we're gonna go to pull up Acts 15 because there's a big misunderstanding that that the proselytes that the church was gathering after the crucifixion of Christ, those were Gentiles, those were heathen nations, and it's not. It's a big misunderstanding, but the worst thing is common knowledge amongst everybody. It's mainstream. It's common, which is a big misunderstanding.
Acts 15, right?
Yeah, 15 started 20.
Okay. This is the book of Acts 15, verse 20. And
Well,
it
actually,
reads, and it reads, but that we write unto them. Now I'm gonna start at verse 19. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God, but that we write unto them that they abstain from pollution of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood.
right. So when it says which from among the Gentiles turn to God, right? So again, that's among the nations. Can mean anybody at this point, right? But when you go to what they're trying to tell them to do, right? The proselytes were given the law to keep. And we know that these proselytes are Israelites because of the law of eating things that die by itself or isn't killed properly, right? Go to Deuteronomy 14 and 21 because we have the specific laws that are for Israel. Because if you look today, they're like, oh, yeah, we're grafted in, is what the church will tell you. But those laws are for those people, right? They always say that those are for Jews, esos son para los judíos, right? So they apparently have the rewards, they have the blessings, the promises, but they don't have to keep the law. I don't know how they got away with it, but right, go to you got Deuteronomy 14 and 21.
Yeah.
All right, come, give me 1 second. All right, go ahead.
Ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it, or thou must sell it unto an alien, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk.
All right, the seething the kid in the mother's milk. I'm gonna leave that alone, right? That's just that's a story for another time. Um, but you can't eat things that just die of itself. You have to be the one to kill it.
Right.
You find a carcass on the roadkill. You can't eat it, but you can give it to anybody else, any other nation, right? So that if they're running with the logic that they grafted in, but they don't have to keep the laws, I mean, there's wrong with that logic. These people, these proselytes, these that from among the Gentiles that turn to God, have to keep these laws.
Right.
I'm gonna say those are Israelites, right? I mean, everyone can say go to Acts 2 and 5. Sure.
Um, this is
Because what
back.
because what say it again.
No, Salakia.
You good.
But
So with that being said, it's either one or two things. It's either the heathen is now under the Mosaic law, or it's only Israelites. One of the two. Obviously, if we have more under the table, I mean, we have more clips, right, in the magazine. But this is definitely a cut to both of their doctrines. Right? Go ahead, bro. 2 and 5 to like 11. No, I'm still
Con,
like 2 and 5.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven.
All right, so when we read it and you break it down and you dissect this verse, within the verse itself, you really don't need anything else around it, but you can go to verses around it. It says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, right? So that's who was there. Devout men. These Jews were devout men out of every nation under the sun. So these Jews were devout men out of every nation under the sun, under heaven. Right? Jump to verse 9, because
Verse 9.
These are the nations that they were coming from. Go ahead.
Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, go to 11.
Con. Phrygia, Pamphylia, and Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of Yahweh.
Right. So obviously they were speaking the same language, even though they came out of different languages, right? Different nations. Now we're gonna go to the term of the Greek for the word proselytes. Right. So the Greek word is proselytos. I'm gonna let Esau say it because I can't.
Strong's G 4339. Proselutos. Proselutos.
We both saying it wrong, man.
I ain't saying it. There's no way. I ain't even gonna try. It's a devil's language, anyways, right?
Con.
Um, but yeah, so it goes back. So proselyte is a newcomer, or these are the biblical usages: a newcomer, a stranger, alien, a proselyte, one who has come over from a Gentile religion to Judaism. And we know that Israelites at that time, in high numbers, were practicing paganism and different other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what the definition says. Yo, read that for me, Will. I gotta sneeze.
An arrival from a foreign region, especially in a cedar, convert to Judaism, proselyte, Barak Atah, bro.
Proselyte,
Pro-
right?
oh yeah, call him proselyte. You want me to read the Dyers too or not?
Nah. Jump to Acts 6 and 9. I mean 6 and 1. So lucky.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 6, verse 1. And it reads, uh my fault. And in those days when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews because their widows were neglected the daily ministration.
Right. So there was a problem that arose amongst different groups of people, and I don't want to say sex, but different, like when there's a body, there's little groups within the body, right?
Come on.
So there was a little problem that arose, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the terminology and finding out who these Grecians are, right? Because it says Greece, it separates Grecians and Hebrews. Hebrews is a language, not an ethnicity. What I mean, it's an umbrella of nations,
Come
of
on.
people. Hebrews is just that. Grecians is a little bit more specific, right? I'm gonna show you that right now. So the word for Grecian, you want to read it?
Con. Hellenistes. Or Hellenistus, right? A Hellenist, one who imitates the manners and customs of the worship of the Greeks and use the Greek tongue. Used in the New Testament. Salakia, what was you saying?
Keep going, keep going.
Used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek.
So they make it seem like it's impossible for somebody that's called a Greek, speaking Greek, to be a Jew. And where the problem really arises, where it stems from, is they think that although jewelry is a practice, but Jew is a ethnicity. The modern understanding of the word Jew is a religion, and that's where everyone gets their minds all messed up. They
Con,
Once they wrap their head around that it's a ethnicity, it's blood, a DNA, then they'll probably be able to understand the scriptures a little bit better, right? Because right here, even Strong was in his understanding, because that's the understanding of around that time, was that there was Jews that were speaking and practicing Greek customs.
con.
We know that happened during the time of the Maccabees, right? You got a point, bro?
Yeah, I wanna on the last slide you brought up. What was it? Acts 2:9, right? The word proselyte, right?
Con.
Can you do that for me? Because Christians be like, you see, proselyte, that means a Gentile, right? But proselyte doesn't mean Gentile. It means a newcomer, right? You try and get Acts 2:9 and the word for proselyte for me.
You want the word? Or you want the verse?
The word.
Word. Gotcha. Go ahead.
All right, so go to LXX where it says LXX. So the Septuagint. Flip to the Septuagint.
You said down or up?
Uh, it says LXX is right near TR, right on top of dictionary aids. Yep, right on top of dictionary aids.
Mm-hmm.
LXX.
All right, here, I got you.
Click that, right? Uh, and click. I think it's the first one. Click the first one. I'm pretty sure.
You want me to click it or hover over it?
Click it. My fault. It sent you to the wrong one. I know how to use it on my phone, but not on the.
All right. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put that in the next video.
Con,
All right. We'll edit that out.
con.
So where were we? We jump to Romans 4:1. Romans 4:1, because we're gonna because we already have the understanding that Jews are practicing other things, right? And a big way we can understand this is by knowing who their fathers were, who these Gentiles that the people are going to, who their fathers were, because how do you say, they being hyper nationalist, who your father is very important. Rome, I mean, I guess they kind of care about it, but they will allow anybody in, just whoever. You know what I mean? Of course, they won't get to like high ranks, and well, I don't know. I don't delve too much into that. But for us, being able to count who your father is and go backtrack who your father is very important. Did you get Romans 4:1?
This is the book of Romans chapter 4:1. What shall we say then? That Abraham, our father, as pertaining to the flesh, have found.
Right. So everyone knows Paul's job was to go to the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles, right? For a technical term, to say it verbatim, right? Why would he be saying Abraham our father if these Gentiles that he's talking to aren't Israelites? They're heathens, right? Abraham wouldn't be their father unless they were like Ishmaelites or Edomites, because he is their father. Like, I mean, but that's not all nations, right? But we know in Romans 9, it tells you it cuts out Esau, it cuts out Ishmael, Just grab that just to give further understanding, because there are other nations under the umbrella of Abraham, right? But I want to the ones that are in the umbrella of Abraham. I want to cut them out right now.
What you want me to start at? Verse 9 or verse 8?
Start do verse 4, just to show who the adoption pertains to, who Paul was sent to.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 4. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises?
All right. So we know that the adoption was for Israel. Jump to verse 9.
This is verse 9.
Actually, no, Salaki. Jump to verse 7. Verse 7.
Verse 7. Neither because they are all the seed, because they are the seed of Abraham, are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Right. So it wasn't Ishmael and Isaac. It was Isaac. Right. So that's under that umbrella that I was talking about of Abraham. Something already got clipped off. Right. That sniped right there. Right. Go ahead.
That is they which are the children of the flesh, but these are not the children of the God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
The seed being Isaac. Go ahead.
For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to the election might stand not of work, but of him that calleth. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
Right. So there's an umbrella. Abraham would be the father of many nations.
Right.
Right. Two are excluded. The rest are the children of Israel. So when we go back to Romans 4:1, when it says, "What shall we say then that Abraham our father, as pertaining to the flesh, has found?" It's talking about Israelites.
Um,
All right. Do you have a point to make, bro?
no, that's it. You harp down every point, man.
All praise to the Most High. Go to 1 Corinthians 10:1. Yeah.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea.
That's the only point they might be able to make, is the mixed multitude that came up out of Egypt. But we know, according to the scriptures, they were destroyed. Right? I don't have it off the top of my head. You know that verse, bro? The mixed multitude being destroyed.
Come on, that's Numbers. That's Numbers. Hold on. I know it's Numbers.
When we got Wisdom of Solomon 18 and 20.
Okay, that's a good precept.
Is it Numbers 11 and 4? Yeah, it is. It is.
This is the book of Numbers 11 and 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again and said, "Who shall give us flesh to eat?" Was a verse.
I don't think it get destroyed though. That's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get that. Where the people fell away lusting. Right. This is verse 34. And he called the name of that place Kibroth Hattaavah, because there they were buried the people that lusted.
So Israelites died as well because we, like I said before, we wanted to go back, but the mixed multitude died, and then they actually killed off all the fathers. So everybody that actually came out of Israel died, and then the ones that went in were the children of them. Right, so they got exterminated. They same way when Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus, comes back, we're gonna be grouped in together, and he's gonna separate the wheats and the tares. Same way when we got out of Egypt the first time, the first Exodus, we came out together, and he separated the wheats and the tares. He's gonna do it again this time. Where we at? Go to so the people under the cloud in 1 Corinthians 10 and 1 to 2. It's talking about Israelites, because even if there was heathens at that point, I'm not sure if they were here at this point when we were in the wilderness, but they're dead, right? It's talking about Israelites at this moment. Go to
chapter 12.
What point is that?
That you were Gentiles carried away
through the Spirit. I was gonna go into Colossians 1 and 21, talking about Gentiles becoming Gentiles and being reconciled. But you can bring that up, bro.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1. I'm going to start at verse 2 instead of verse 1. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. So we were called Gentiles for going into idolatry. Like that's part of the main reason.
You know, a modern Christian, they'll twist it up and say, hey, these were Gentiles. Because with just this verse by itself, we're going to have to find out who he's talking to in 1 Corinthians. We're going to do that later on, right? But whoever he's talking to in this verse was a Gentile. We know, because we study this thing, that they're Israelites. And we're going to show you that in a few. But Israelites, there's some Israelites that were Gentiles, right? What's this? Go to Colossians 1 and 21.
This is the book of Colossians chapter 1 verse 21. And you that were sometime alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath he reconciled.
Once again, somebody being reconciled, or somebody that was doing wicked works and all this stuff, not coming back, right? Once again, who's that talking about, right? Let's go to Ezekiel and that being alienated. Keep an eye on that. Go to Ezekiel 11 and 15.
11 and 15. This is the book of Ezekiel 11 and 15, and it reads, Son of man, thy brethren, even thy brethren, the men of thy kindred and all the house of Israel, holy are they unto them, Salaki, are unto whom the inhabitants of Jerusalem have said, get you far from the Lord. Unto us is this land given in possession.
Right. So the shunning of Israel towards Israel is happened way before the whole grafting back in. Because remember how in Acts 10 and 28 the Jews weren't sitting with other Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
That weren't practicing Israelites, right? A man of another nation. That was happening back in Ezekiel. So they're saying that this is our land, not your lands, and they're talking to fellow Israelites. So the alienation was a thing far way before uh, the Roman captivity.
Con.
All right. Do you
I
have a
got, I
point?
got, I got two precepts, right? Uh, Ezekiel 14 verse 5. Um, let me know
Say
when you're
14
there.
and 5.
For 14 verse 5.
Gotcha. But
Right, Ezekiel 14 verse 5. That I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they are all estranged from me through their idols. Idolatry, right? Us not following the law, statutes, and commandments make us a Gentile, right, in our heart. The same thing that I said in 1 Corinthians 12. You was it 1 Corinthians or Colossians? Well, both of them. We were once Gentiles by performing idolatry and going off into following
no, it
whatever.
was yours. It was yours.
It was mine.
Yeah,
Come,
mine harped on alienation.
come. So right for yeah, you right. 1 Corinthians 12. We went estranged. We became strangers, right? And I have another precept is Ezekiel 20 verse 32.
Ezekiel what?
Ezekiel 20 verse 32. Uh, and that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we will be as heathen as the families of the country to serve wood and stone. So back to what 1 Corinthians 12 is saying, idolatry is what made us the Gentiles. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bring it out, but Deuteronomy 28 talks about serving wood and stone, something that would happen. All this has been planned.
Come,
There has to be a falling away first before we can come back in,
come,
and that's what it is, bro.
come,
Um, let's go to Ephesians 2 and 16,
come,
because at this point we understand, based off the scriptures coming out, we we've been alienated, right? We've been estranged because we followed the idols. He pushes us away, and now we're just scattered like chickens with our heads cut off. He brought back the sheep herder, the was it the sheep herder? Yahushua to bring back the sheep,
come.
right? And yeah,
You want me to go to verse 11 or 16?
I'm at 16. What does 11 say?
11, wherefore that ye be in time past Gentiles.
Yeah, you could do that. Get 11 and then jump to 16.
16, this is the book of, I'm going to read to 12, then jump to 16.
Yeah, do you?
Ephesians 2, verse 11, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision, by that which is called circumcision in the flesh made by hands. Another thing that made us what? Gentiles is us not being circumcised. Verse 12, that at time ye were without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without God in the world. So there was a part of time where we were cut off from all the law, statutes, and commandments, and our the benefits of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Ephesians chapter 2, verse 16. and that he might reconcile both unto God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby.
So that's grafting back in. You know, on basic science, you can't graft something. It needs to be at least part of the same family to be grafted in. To have two different twigs, put them together, let them grow into each other. They have to be at least part of the same family, right? Um, we for the sake of edification and everything, there's grafting in and there's reconciliation and Gentiles coming in. It doesn't show that it's Israel yet. We're gonna show that later because remember, keep an eye on the books that are being read. These are these are the epistles, right? So, but at this point, there's Gentiles being grafted back in, aliens being non-strangers again, just being coming back and these people were under the wilderness, in the wilderness, excuse me. So I guess we did prove it, but we're gonna put another nail in the coffin later.
I want to put one nail in the coffin, and then you add your third nail, man. 3 nails for the tribe, believe third tribe, man.
Yeah. Let me finish this up real quick.
Calm.
When we're done with Romans 11,
calm.
We'll I'll let you put your thing in.
Calm.
Go to 1 Corinthians. Actually, you brought that up. Ephesians 2 and 11. You did that one. First Maccabees 1 and 48.
Calm. Give me 1 second. First Maccabees. First Maccabees 1:48, that they should lead their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manners of uncleanness and profanation.
Keep reading.
To the end that they might forget the law and change all their ordinances.
So, yes, during the Greek captivity, it was forced on us, but at the same time, you beat somebody enough, it becomes second nature, and then it becomes willing. A couple generations in, it becomes willing, right? So, Israelites were losing their culture, their heritage, and their laws in the previous captivity that we were in before the Roman captivity. Right? Jump to Romans 11 and 1.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 1. And it reads, I said then, hath God cast away his people? Yahweh forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin.
Keep reading.
God had not cast away his people, which he foreknew. What ye not that the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord.
Right. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged thine altars. And I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself even 7,000 men who have not bowed to the knee of the image of Baal. Even
right.
so.
That's lucky, so I'm going to cut it off right there. So it says that we have God cast away his people. Like as we showed before, Israel got alienated, sent away, put in time out. But does that mean that it's going to be there forever? No. Israel is the apple of God's eye. and will be forevermore. And that's what he says, right? Go to Acts 22 and 27. Because we
This is the
saw,
book.
there's one, Salaki, because we see, what's his face? Paul calling himself an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin, right? People people don't understand that you have a heritage, but then you have a citizenship.
Con.
Heritage, ethnicity, and citizenship, two different things. You can be called from both. My ethnicity is obviously tribe of Ephraim, right? I almost said Levi, tribe of Ephraim. But my nationality, my citizenship is American, right? So you can have two different things, and I'm gonna show you that right now. So we have Paul calling himself an Israelite, Benjamin. Jump to Acts 22 and 27.
Con. This is the book of Acts, chapter 22, verse 27. Then the chief captain came and said unto him, Tell me, art thou a Roman? He said, Yeah.
So now you have Paul calling himself a Roman. Is he double-minded? Is he confused? Did he get himself? No, it's you can't think about these scriptures too like
What
on the
religion?
surface level. You gotta have a little bit of common sense. You have the Romans, bro. They were taking over a lot of different places, a lot of different countries, a lot of different people, armies. They had their ethnicity, but they would call themselves Romans. You have people that join other nations joining the Roman army, joining the Roman army, right? So you can't let you can't just look at things on the surface level. You gotta use your mind, use common sense, practicality. These things, these scriptures, yeah, the word of God is in it, and it's inspired, and it has a spirit to it. Bro, this is just uh, um, a compilation. Well, yeah, it is a compilation. Um, they're just jotting down events that happen. These are regular, not God's people, but they're just people living lives, living the story, and then jotting it down. If you take this and you're like, oh my God, and then you just over exaggerate everything, it's not gonna.
When you turn this book into a religious book, that's as soon as you're gonna lose everything. That's
Exactly.
as soon as you lose the aspect that these are a group of people, reaction with their God and what's going on with their people, right? You gotta have that type of outlook on the Bible. You can't come with your preconceived religious beliefs with the Bible. You can't do that.
But a lot of times they do that today. Somebody will make a somebody will make a movie, and then they'll try to insert how they thought he felt when he made the movie, or
Right.
why he made this, why he said that. Did he put that little Easter egg in there, or this little subliminal? Bro, just watch the movie. He's telling you in the plot. Yeah, this sometimes there's some little nuances, but it's not everything is a subliminal. Not everything is something. Sometimes it is what it is. Some regular real people stuff, man, dude. Real, but
Spookism.
so like, say it one more time, bro.
I said not no spookism.
Yeah, I mean, there's some in it, but it's not too far fetched for it to be practical a decent amount of times in the scriptures.
Con,
Like him know Yahweh knowing everything. It's kind of spooky. Him controlling everything. It's kind of spooky.
con,
But but Paul going into prison, bro. That's happens today. You know, you have wars in the Bible. You have people falling in love in the Bible. You have people hating other people. It's the human. I don't want to say condition, but being human. Common sense, bro. That's all I'm trying to say. I know I went on a rant. Just use common sense and pray. Pray for the understanding. Let the Most High sprinkle the little extra spirituality you need. But for the most part, use common sense. You had a point that you just want to bring up earlier,
Mm,
a verse.
nah.
You good
Yeah, I'm gonna save that for something else.
for another topic, or because I'm about
Actually,
to
actually, this portion's on the New Testament, right? New Testament,
Gentiles in the New Testament. Come on.
Gentile. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say the precept later.
What is it?
Acts 11.
Acts 11. Yeah, bring it up.
Okay. This is the book of Acts, chapter 11. What is it? 28. Yeah, Acts 11, verse 28, and it reads. No, it's verse. That's verse 19, Salakia. Acts 11, 19. Now they Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. So it's the same case in
Bro,
Acts 2.
I would have ended off with that.
You want to end it off with that?
I would have ended off with that.
Uh, so
No, go
right,
ahead. It's like I cut you off. Go ahead.
you good. So right, it's not the same. It's like it's the same thing as Acts 2 and 5. There's Jews scattered into these places, right? Just because you're from this place or you're from Elam, that doesn't mean you're particularly an Elamite. You were probably scattered abroad up in there, just like what's happening in the Jews and the Jews in the New Testament. These are Jews get scattered.
I got a question though.
Go ahead.
Um, there in Acts 11 has Paul been accepted yet?
In Acts 11,
Yeah,
I don't think so. Nah.
because the point that they can try to make is Peter went to the Jews, Paul went to the Gentiles, went to the heathen.
Go ahead, and try to do that, man.
Right? And so, but with that being said, right, with Paul being said,
Right.
all this grafting in and thing that we went through before, he's talking to specific people, correct? So there's a word that gets thrown around in the scriptures many times, and it's saints. Every epistle that Paul writes in, he's addressing the saints of that region. Who are the saints? So if you find out who the saints are, you're gonna find out who those Gentiles being grafted back in are. Grab start with Romans.
Con.
Actually, you know what? No, start with Psalms 50 and
I'm
Psalms
gonna start
148,
with 55 and
148 and 14. Go ahead.
148 14. So 140 Psalms 148 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye Yahweh.
See that? Psalms 50 and 5.
Con. This is the book of Psalms 50 and 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
So we know that the only ones that made a covenant with sacrifice were the Israelites. So two instances, there's more instances, but for the sake of time, I'm going to try to run through this real quick.
Keep it at two witnesses, man.
Exactly. We have enough, right? The saints are Israelites. Jump to Romans
7.
1 and 7. Con.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 7. To all that be in Rome, beloved of Yahweh, called to be saints, grace to you and peace from our power, our Father, and the Lord Yahweh Hamashiach.
Right? Go to First Corinthians now, because that's the Roman, right? He's talking to the people in Rome, right? Go to First Corinthians 1 and 2.
This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 1 and 2. Unto the church of Yahweh, which is at Corinth, to them that are sanctified and Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, called to be saints, with all that in every place called upon the name of Yahweh Shah, Hamashiach, our Lord, both theirs and ours.
You see that? Go to Ephesians 1 and 1.
Come, this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 1 and 1. Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ, by the will of Yahweh, to the saints which are at Ephesus, and to the faithful in Hamashiach Yahweh.
Or he's talking to saints, he's talking to Israelites. These letters, these epistles were for Israelites. Go to Philippians 1 and 1.
Philippians chapter 1, verse 1. Paul and Timotheus, the servant of Yahweh Hamashiach, to all the saints in Hamashiach Yahweh, which are at Philippi, with the bishops and the deacons.
Go to read verse 2.
God. Grace be unto you and peace from Yahweh our Father and from the Lord Yahweh Hamashiach.
Yahweh our Father, right? And then Colossians 1 and
2. This is the book of Colossians, chapter 1, verse 2. To the saints and faithful brethren in Hamashiach, which are at Colossus, grace be unto you and peace from Yahweh our Father and the Lord Yahweh Hamashiach.
So, with that being said, all the Gentiles being grafted back in, the ones that once were Gentiles, but not, because you can be alienated. Israelites could be alienated from Yahweh, from the Father. We are now, but through Yahweh Shai, we get back in, we come back, we start keeping the laws of God, and that's that. But I'm going to end off right here with an extra biblical source, an outer biblical source, right? Because we know that the Clement of Rome was, go to Philippians 4 and 3, Bible Shah. The Clement of Rome, say it again.
No, you go. Go ahead.
He was a prominent figure in the New Testament, right? And one of the earliest writings that we have comes from him. For some reason, it's not in the scriptures. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure, but that's not my. You got the 4 and 3.
This is Philippians 4, verse 3. And I entreat thee also, tree yoke fellow, help those women which labor with me in the gospel, with Clement also, and with other my fellow laborers, whose name are in the book of life.
Right. So according to Paul, Clement's name's already in the book of life. A very prominent figure. He's well regarded. He's in high regards from Paul. Correct. So like I said, there's gonna be an extra biblical source. Some may hearken to it, some may not. We do. I do. All right. So I'm gonna go to. You have it on your side, or you want me to read it over here?
It's popping up on my screen, so I can read it.
You got it. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go to 4 and 7.
4 and 7.
Come on.
This is First Clement 4 and 7. Ye see, brethren, jealousy and envy wrought a brother's murder. By reason of jealousy, our father Jacob ran away from the face of Esau. Try and go down just a little bit.
No, you good. That's it. That's all. Right. So, according to Clement, our father Jacob. So the people that he's writing to is the people that descend from Jacob. Right. Let's go to 31 and 2. 30. Damn, go ahead.
First Clement 31:2. Wherefore was our father Abraham blessed? Was it not because he wrought righteousness and truth through faith?
Right. So I'll go on a class, a little quick class later on about the validity of this, of the Clement. But for now, that's just something there's a little bonus, something extra. But the Gentiles were Israelites. The ones that were being saved and grafted back in were Israelites. You know, I'm gonna show you in the next class the heathens being mentioned as Gentiles, because it's not all Gentiles were Israelites. You got to use context to see who it's talking about. But yeah, I'm gonna end off on there. You want to close out?
Khan, and with that, we want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem HaMashiach Yahweh Shah. Shalom.
Shalom, Yeshua.